Good morning. Our opening words are by Pat Uribe Lichty. We gather. We bring our sorrows, our disappointments, our failures. We gather for healing, for laughter, and to rejoice. We gather to find new ways of doing things, of loving, new ways of thinking, new ways of being. We gather. Yes, always we gather, for it is in gathering that we find our hope. We continue to enjoy the music of the Christmas season with our opening hymn, number 236, O Thou Joyful Day. Please rise in body or spirit to join in singing. Good morning and welcome again to our service. My name is Melissa White, and I am part of the worship committee who is leading the service today as our minister, the Reverend Lee Blumel, and the rest of the church staff enjoy a well-deserved Sundays with their own families. I'm joined in leading the service today by Heather McNeil, who's over there right now, also Zoom hosting, double duty. Gail Forsyth-Vail, John Williams, and Heather Geiger, Ellen Geiger, oh my, sorry. We are grateful to have Ruth Ellen Donnelly as our musician this morning, and thank you, Ruth Ellen. That, What Child Is This was the most beautiful arrangement I've ever heard. Thank you so much. And Jeremy will also be helping with readings and the chalice lighting. Again, welcome to North Parish, a Unitarian Universalist congregation in the Merrimack River Valley. A special welcome to any visitors this morning and to those joining us by Zoom. There is a screen up here where we can see you. Hello, hello. Let's turn and say welcome and good morning to each other. If we are well greeted, I have a few announcements and reminders to share. First of all, children are especially welcome at this service and will be remaining with their families rather than leaving today. The worship committee welcomes help in putting away the candles and holders from the Christmas Eve services. Join us in Freeman Hall during coffee hour and enjoy yourselves. It's a hoot. We ask everyone to put their phones in worship mode for the next hour. If you are a newcomer, you'll find visitor cards like this. They may be white, they may be beige, in the pews, in the hymnal racks. We invite you to fill one out and put it in the collection plate or hand it to an usher. There are stairs near the entry back there, and an elevator through the door to your left. And we often show applause using American Sign Language like this. Jazz hands. Those are our announcements. Now, those zooming into the service from home may wish to light their own chalices, and I'll invite Jeremy Richards to come forward to light the North Parish chalice. This ancient symbol of communion and equality, of mystics and heretics, reformers and refugees, artists, activists, and Unitarian Universalists everywhere.
Thank you, Melissa. Good morning, everyone. Will you please join me in our chalice lighting words, written in your order of service or on the chat on Zoom. Each morning, we must hold out the chalice of our being to receive, to carry, and to give back.
Good morning. In these days after Christmas, many of us find time to reflect on the year that has passed and to look forward to a new year, perhaps a new start. The year that is ending has had moments of joy, wonder, and celebration, and times of sorrow, grief, and deep concern for ourselves, our loved ones, and the wider world. This year has been a particularly difficult one for many who have faced and are facing food and housing insecurity, as well as state violence and harmful rhetoric and policy directed at immigrants, those who are transgender, and other vulnerable people. Hope can be hard to find sometimes. Ours is a faith that lifts up hope, not merely as visioning and dreaming a better tomorrow, but as a spiritual practice. It is a practice that requires a regular renewal of commitment to the work and the joy of building a better world, even when those efforts seem insufficient and our concerns and sorrows feel overwhelming. We meet together in community to buoy and strengthen one another for the journey. As Emily Dickinson writes, hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. This morning, the worship committee will share wisdom and reflection on hope from various sources. We'll invite you to ponder these words, thoughts, and stories, then invite you to reflect on what resonates for you, and, if you choose, to share those thoughts with one another.
So this is a story that was told by the Reverend Chris Bice, who is the longtime minister of Tennessee Valley UU congregation in Knoxville. And it begins like this. Two frogs were hopping along, as they do, and they came upon a bucket, and they hopped into it, as they do. And they discovered that the bucket was half full of cream. Oh my. Too slippery to climb up the sides, too deep to hop from the bottom. They were in a fix. And one frog began to moan and groan and say, oh my, oh me, we will never escape from here. And he moaned and groaned. And the other frog just thought. And you know, the moaning and groaning was getting a little irritating. And then the other frog said, keep hope alive. And he began to think, keep hope alive. And as he thought, he began to move his legs, you know, as frogs do, kind of like treading water in the cream. And then he began to do it as a chant. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Trying really hard to drown out the moaning and groaning. And the other frog joined in. And together they went around and around the bucket of cream. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. And pretty soon, that cream had done something interesting. It had turned into butter. And the frogs were able to jump out of the bucket and go their merry way. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. And that's the end of our story today. And the children will be staying.
Our next reading was posted by a user named Crowsfault on Twitter in March of 2022. People speak of hope as if it is this delicate, ephemeral thing made of whispers and spiders' webs. It's not. Hope has dirt on her face, blood on her knuckles, the grit of the cobblestones in her hair, and just spat out a tooth as she rises for another go.
So I invite you now to join me in a time of meditation, contemplation, and prayer, a time for each to use as they best need. You can sit and let the music wash over you. You can chant a word to yourself. Just settle in and relax. And let's have some time together. We'll begin with music and the lighting of candles of remembrance, joy, and sorrow, or dropping stones in the water if you wish to lay down a burden. If you'd like me to share what's in your heart today, please fill out one of the yellow slips in the pew and bring it forward when you come. Zoom participants, please put your joys and sorrows into the chat. Thank you. And invite the meditation music. Let's begin. I light this first candle for the sorrows and the grief and the sadness of our lives. I light this second candle for the joys and the wonder and the gratitude of our days. Including babies. I light this third candle for our concerns for the wider world, for those facing hunger and poverty and violence all over the world and here near home. And I light this fourth candle for those joys and sorrows too tender to share or that we hold close in our hearts. Would you join me, please, in the shared response? In our joys and in our sorrows, we are not alone.
Good morning, I'm Ellen Geiger, member of the worship committee. The prayer this morning was written by Nadia Boltz-Weber. Hang on. Dear God, I woke up today exhausted after a full night's sleep. My 90-minute walk did not revive me, and a nice breakfast with lots of protein didn't seem to do the trick either. And before you ask, yes, I am fully hydrated, Lord. Hydrated and weary AF. That's what he says here. And it's getting harder not to freak out. All day long, when my thoughts get gloomy, is this the end of days? Will AI take over everything, just like in all the movies? Should I invest in a bunker? Did we already live through the most peaceful, prosperous time in history and we didn't realize that's what it was and now it's over and we'll never get it back again? I try to redirect my thoughts to where is beauty happening in this very moment? Who might need some help today? What are those show-offy red flowers in my neighbor's yard called? How can the sky look that beautiful? But that amount of redirection is taking a lot of energy, Lord. And maybe that is contributing to the exhaustion. What I am trying to say, God, is that if you could help me pivot my restless brain from gloom to gladness, even just like 10% faster, that could make a huge difference. Oh, and thanks for this day and everything beautiful in my life that I did not earn or create, and for dogs and flowers. Amen.
Let there be an offering to support the mission and the work of this parish. If you are new or visiting, please let the plate pass you by.
Our next reading is by Dag Hammarskjöld, a Swedish economist and diplomat who served as the second Secretary General of the United Nations. It can also be found in the Gray Hymnal, number 486. I am being driven forward into an unknown land. The pass grows steeper. The air grows colder and sharper. A wind from my unknown goal stirs the strings of expectation. Still, the question, shall I ever get there? There, where life resounds, a clear, pure note in the silence.
This is a reading by Thich Nhat Hanh, who is a Vietnamese Buddhist monk who was a global spiritual leader, poet, and peace activist. It is from the book, Peace is Every Step. Western civilization places so much emphasis on the idea of hope that we sacrifice the present moment. Hope is for the future. It cannot help us discover joy, peace, or enlightenment in the present moment. Many religions are based on the notion of hope, and this teaching about refraining from hope may create a strong reaction. But the shock can bring about something important. I do not mean that you should not have hope, but that hope is not enough. Hope can create an obstacle for you, and if you dwell in the energy of hope, you will not bring yourself back entirely into the present moment. If you rechannel those energies into being aware of what's going on in the present moment, you will be able to make a breakthrough and discover joy and peace right in the present moment, inside of yourself and all around you.
Good morning. This is a reading by a UU minister, Julian Jamaica Soto. In this community, we hold hope close. We don't always know what comes next, but that cannot dissuade us. We don't always know just what to do, but that will not mean that we are lost in the wilderness. We rely on the certainty beneath, the foundations of our values and ethics. We are the people who return to love like a North Star and to the truth that we are greater together than we are alone. Our hope does not live in some glimmer of an indistinct future. Rather, we know the way to the world of which we dream, and by covenant and the movement forward of one right action and the next, we know that one day we will arrive at home.
Story time again. This is a story from ancient Greece, and it begins like this. Zeus and the other gods were angry with human beings because humans had stolen fire, and we were using it to warm themselves and to cook their food. And the gods thought that that power should belong only to the gods. And so they got together and they plotted revenge. Well, in those days on earth, There was no sickness. No one grew old and died. There was no poverty. There was no cruelty. There was no pain. But that was all about to change. The gods sent a marvelous-looking locked box to the home of Epimetheus and Pandora. Now, Pandora is kind of key in this story. The gods left a note on it that said, "Do not open this box under any circumstances." But they knew that Pandora was curious. She was bright and beautiful, and she was musically very talented, but her big thing was that she was curious. She was the kind of person who looked in the closets for her birthday presents before her birthday. She was the kind of person who lifted up the leaves to look for worms and bugs that she could watch. She was the kind of person who looked behind doors and behind walls, and everywhere. She was curious, curious, curious. Now, how do you think this is going to end? Well, she stared at this box that was not to be opened, and Epimetheus kept saying, "We can't open this, remember, we cannot open this box." And Pandora went up to it and she kind of sniffed it, and it had no smell. And she put her ear to it, but there was no sound. And then she shook it, shook it. Nothing. And she just kept staring at it day after day after day. And then one day, when she was alone in the house, Epimetheus was off doing something. She couldn't resist any longer. She broke the lock. And she opened the box just a little bit, and out whooshed sickness and death and sadness. And the box could not be contained, and out came poverty and greed and cruelty. Out came all kinds of difficult things for human beings. And then she couldn't get the cover closed, so she looked more closely. And there, in the bottom of the box, floated one more thing. The last thing in the box was hope. The gods had left hope as a companion for human beings who now had to deal with all of the challenges in the world. And so it was in Pandora's day, and so it is in our day. Hope remains despite it all. And there ends our story.
So now it is your turn. We are inviting you to reflect quietly on the stories and readings you have heard this morning and about what hope means to each of you. There should be pencils in your pews, or maybe you grabbed one on the way in. There should be an index card in your order of service, or you could actually use the order of service if you would like to write or draw during this time, or you may choose to simply reflect on your thoughts. And then after a few minutes, you'll have the opportunity to share your thoughts with a neighbor, or simply listen to others, or continue to reflect, write, or draw on your own, whatever is more comfortable for you. If you need something, you can also kind of raise your hand, and one of the ushers can bring you something if you need a pencil or paper. So here are some questions to sort of reflect on. Have you found ways to stay grounded and hopeful as we enter 2026? What hopes do you have for yourself, for your family, for the wider community as we enter the new year? What does hope look like, sound like, feel like? Let's begin our time of quiet reflection. Neighbor, or you may continue to reflect on your own. If you are at home via Zoom, you may unmute yourselves and chat with one another, or you may put some things in the chat. Go ahead. Sounds like people have a lot to chat about. Feel free to continue your conversations downstairs at coffee hour after the service. Let's close this time by listening again to Emily Dickinson, perhaps hearing something new in her words following your reflections. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. Our closing hymn is Ring Out Wild Bells, number 58 in the gray hymnal. Please rise in body or spirit and join in singing. We on the worship committee are grateful today for all who help make worship possible. Our musician, Ruth and Donnelly, our ushers, greeter, and coffee hour hosts, the tech team in the balcony, and all of you who came out this winter morning. And I also want to thank the worship team auxiliary of Aaron Pollack and Bob Watts and Jeremy Richards. They contribute so much, and they don't, and they don't get the credit that goes in the program, so I want to make sure I thank them. So, Jeremy, if you can extinguish the chalice, and everyone can join me in the chalice extinguishing words. We extinguish the flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.